We are playing ALLURA. We are now at Ring 3. Gerry has just sworn at and threatened the AI known as Palo, Passive Artificial Listening Observer. And he and Mark, have found themselves in separate security closets, discovering that flash drive, the same flash drive, has been used to access the bridge and create havoc in the systems of the ship. And Sue Ellen is still in the infirmary, having dealt with the android upgrade of Gerry. By this time, all the characters have a little respite. Apollo has gone away for a little while, and they find themselves in their own spaces. This is a question for all of the players. You've heard about the rise of androids in your culture. When did you begin to suspect, in your own way, that the creatures were out of control? What techniques did you hear about that the androids use to blend in with the human population? As you rest in your respective areas, you're starting to think about this.
I think Gerry, when he was still a security officer back on his planet before it was, everyone was disappeared. There was an incident, like a shooting incident, where like an android, like before the system was perfected, was shot, and they looked inside, and I think maybe that's where the source of his body electric flashbacks is from. Actually, it was just a mass of cables and wires, and this person had been living in their community for years. Everyone thought that they were a pillar of the community, and then they just sort of flipped, and nobody quite knew what their motivation was, and nobody never would have suspected they were not human, flesh and blood.
Being an android, Sue Ellen has a pretty good idea of what androids are capable of, even if the regular human you meet might not be. It's a lot of humans think that they can just tell. They look at somebody, they can just tell if there's an android there or not. But they can't. They just think they can. They can't tell. Sometimes they say, oh, that's an android and it's a human. And sometimes they say, that's not an android and it is an android. Really, it's one of those situations where most androids are, well, older generations of androids are not really as technologically adept at pretending to be human. They're not programmed to be, so it's not a necessity. The newer models of androids, well, that's a whole other story. And we can get into the android uprising that is happening, or we cannot. And I think we're going to not, because, don't know any details about that yet. But now we have this newer, even more advanced version of androids that we have discovered out here on this ship in New Gerry, who's dead. And of course, Sue Ellen took some of New Gerry's parts, so I guess she's one of those new androids.
Mark knew that the android uprising was happening when he could not compete as a therapist. Initially, it started out as like an expert system. Like there are plenty of papers, plenty of bits of research that like a decorporealized android might be able to like give answers for self-help questions. But it eventually got to a point where the mimicry, the imitation of his own manners, of his own like actions as a professional. There was no way that I could compete against a single entity that could remote across the stars and have a dozen sessions in the same moment when I was restricted to just one client at a time. And the fact that people didn't want to talk and hear from another person. They just wanted to hear what the machine thought and felt. And you know, that propagated, that affected other things. I'm here writing the truth in a book and nobody wants to hear it. And it might be too late. The androids, if the androids can mimic people to that point that they're not willing to listen to actual real humans, what's the point?
What's the point indeed? And as you were thinking and taking this respite, you start thinking about your fellows, your fellow crew members, and you start to think about one item that your teammate brought that makes you suspicious. Are they an android? Could they be part of this uprising? Sue Ellen, what did Gerry bring that makes you think, I mean, especially after seeing an android copy of Gerry, could you suspect that maybe this one also is?
No. No. He doesn't have any of the tells that an android has. A human might be easily misled because humans are infinitely fallible. And sure, androids are creations of humans, which means there's some aspect of human error in their programming. But I like to consider that more like randomization, a little bit of randomization in the programming rather than an actual defect. And other androids can perfect those mistakes. So, looking at Gerry, who is full of mistakes, well, no wonder somebody was trying to make an android a better version of Gerry.
Okay. Gerry, you just finished ranting and raving over at Apollo. And you're looking at this flash drive and thinking of your teammates. Do you remember seeing something on Mark that possibly gave you some suspicions that maybe he might be an android?
I think in my moments of paranoia after seeing that footage and my little outburst, I think about this kind of like moisturizer that Mark carries around with him, and he spilt it once by accident. And I thought, you know, that doesn't look like moisturizer. That looks like some kind of silicon rehydration compound to keep his like fake android skin looking with the appropriate luster. And then I think Gerry just like says, "You're losing it, Gerry. You're losing it," and just like tamps that thought down.
Mark, you're starting to gather these little flash drives. I mean, you got this one from the bridge, and then you have the one that you got from the Oculus operative. But now you're starting to think, would your crew members be a danger to your book deal, to getting this thing done? Does Sue Ellen give you any ideas that maybe she might be part of this uprising? Does
Yeah.
she?
Yeah,
Does she have
she
anything?
marches ahead. What kind of medic goes ahead of the guy with the gun into an unknown situation? Blocks people off from. I mean, she certainly seemed more interested in whatever was in the infirmary than the John Williams person that she claimed to have known. Dropped him like a, well, sack of potatoes at that point. Not that it's any of my concern. If he couldn't hold himself together throughout all this, then what's the point of wasting time on him?
And there is one secret as your minds drift into this respite. There's one secret you are keeping from the others for sure. Besides your drive, besides your possible actual identity. What is it? Mark, what are you keeping from the others? They know that you're, a self-help author. Or disgraced. But what don't they know?
I was once an Oculus operative. I stepped away from that life and hoped that I could cobble together something that was normal, something that I was not a good person. I know I was not a good person, and I tried to do the right thing, and it just failed time after time after time. And I tried to pull on some strings to maybe piece something together, and that's how I got tangled up with Oculus again.
Now, do you think that Oculus is for, or against, or the cause of the android uprising?
For. Because if the androids are the way forward, then somebody has to be there to lead them in the right direction.
Gerry, what are you hiding from the others?
On Gerry's last sort of downtime, just when he was down to his last credits, drinking sort of cheap synthetic alcohol in a bar, a woman approached him and made him a proposition, which was that on his next mission, he might encounter an advanced form of artificial intelligence. And he sort of laughed drunkenly when that was said. And basically she looked at him very seriously, this sort of nondescript woman in a jumpsuit, in a sort of, space station jumpsuit with these kind of dead eyes, and said, well, basically offered to pay for every central processing cortex from an advanced model android that he could bring back with him. They'd pay like a fee that's just like beyond the dreams of avarice, and he didn't believe that. He thought that they were just some conspiracy theorists, but now he's starting to wonder whether they might have been predicting something on the ALLURA.
Did she give you the means to contact her when you did get something like this?
They said, "Don't. We'll find you.
Okay.
Just don't damage them. They need to be. They need to be in a substrate that will keep them active."
And Sue Ellen, out of your companions, do you think that either one, well, I should say, besides being an android, besides having upgraded yourself, what else are you keeping from your fellow crewmates?
So Ellen's goal being on this ship is to find evidence of alien life. What nobody knows is that Oculus knows it exists. They know it exists because other teams have brought back alien technology. Alien technology that is now part of a certain model of android, such as Sue Ellen. We know the aliens are out there. We know they have advanced technology. Just need some evidence. Bacteria, DNA, if they have DNA or whatever. Maybe it's not a D, maybe it's a Q or something, QNA. Who knows what they possibly could have as a sort of genetic structure. But yeah. Oculus knows this, but not everyone in Oculus knows this. Not even the people in all the people in the Android uprising know this. This is hush, hush, very top secret. And I think that one of the things that Sue Ellen recognized in New Gerry was some of this alien technology, which is another reason why she was very adamant about taking it apart. Sorry, old Gerry. You're old Gerry now.
Gerry feels more like old Gerry every day.
That's a mood, actually.
Some mood. In your respective areas, and maybe the systems of the ship are gone awry again, because you see that the comm links are going static and then perhaps dead. In each of your areas, Paulo, the red light for Paulo will click on, and you are asked in each place, why did you volunteer for this mission?
I think Gerry will say, so that I could get in physical range of this data port. And he's going to put his like ice chips, just slam it in where he took out the one that had been sitting there. He's going to like slam in his sort of hack in box data chip and then laugh and say, oh, fuck you.
To do a job, to settle a debt, like, why do you care? Just lead me to the bridge. Let's settle this at this point, so I can prove that I am worth it.
One part Sue Ellen was ordered to. This was part of her orders. However, these new models of androids have freedom of choice, pure freedom of choice. That's part of the alien technology. It's not like they're programmed to choose, to run through an algorithm and determine the probability of the outcomes and then choose from that. They have freedom of choice similar to how a human does, where they can think ahead to a certain point, and then there's a block so that they can't really predict the next step in the outcomes. The studies that have been done on androids in very, top secret, have shown that the results of androids making decisions in that way is a little bit more realistic, kind of like how humans do. It has better outcomes, strangely enough, because humans are more likely to take a risk on something. They're more likely to gamble on something than an android or a computer would be. And adding that level of choice and adding that blindness to all the consequences results in better outcomes, results in, yes, more danger, but more reward as well. And so Sue Ellen chose to come.
Nice. In your respective areas, you can hear the hum of machines. There are systems that are still working alternately with the ones that are not. And as the hum grows a little bit louder, as you stay silent, they start to sound like whispers. You know you got this, but what do you have? What are you doing here? Are you really free? Will you actually come after what you really want? Or is it what you really need? And so closes Ring 3. As we enter Ring 4, Sue Ellen, do you leave the infirmary, or do you... Okay.
Yeah, I think Suellen walks out of the infirmary and hits a few panels or buttons on the panel next to the door so that a light lights up in red surrounding the door, and the word caution, danger, do not enter, appears on the front of the door, because, don't want people that need life support to enter there. That would be bad, probably. And she turns around. Is John Williams still on the floor?
He is not.
Okay. That's concerning to Amanda, but not to Sue Ellen. Sue Ellen assumes that Gerry and Mark went somewhere with him. She's gonna get on the walkie-talkie because I think we determined that we have some kind of walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
they've
some
been
kind of
they've been on and off. Yeah.
Yeah, space
Mhm.
walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
And she's gonna try and raise the other two.
You hear her.
Gerry, Mark, you there?
It's up to you
Can't
whether you
talk now.
choose to speak.
I think Jerry's gonna say, "Can't talk now, Sue Ellen. I've got a worm to introduce into the system. I don't want to be distracted, okay?" And he just like turns it off and starts ignoring it.
Mark? What's
I'm
going
at
on?
I'm at one of the security terminals.
All right. Well, I'm gonna head up to the cockpit.
I'll meet you at the bridge.
Yes, the bridge. That is what it's called. Thank you.
Actually, Sue Ellen, it's called the bridge if it's a starship.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Writer. I know everything. Sorry.
Do you say that out loud?
No. No. That's just us trying to break the tension because it's me and Mike, and
Yep. Yeah, that's
we are
fine.
bad influences on each other.
Yes, you are. I will say that it's like several different ways I want to introduce this stuff. Sue Ellen, as you make your way to the bridge, you will notice that in the hallways there starts to become more issues. Some of the torn up parts and panels that Gerry and Mark had seen, they're now in worse condition than before, but you don't necessarily know that. And then you start seeing shadows playing out beyond, like if you happen to turn your head to look down some of the corridors with the grill work in them, instead of like full on walls, you will see shadows playing out as if you can see people moving. And then same for you, Mark and Gerry. If you're looking outside of your security booth, you will see those same shadows playing out in the corridors as well. Distant, but the shadows are flickering across the walls.
I think Gerry wants to do a cheap trick back and try and forcibly retrieve the information about like a safe way he can get to the bridge without being surveilled, essentially.
Okay. Are you doing that digitally, or are you going to try to do that physically?
Yeah, I'm going to use my hacking ritual.
Sure. Okay. So that brings us to the first die roll of this session. And that would be one dark die, of course, for the ritual itself, and then one light die for your investigation skill. And what first do you think will go wrong with Gerry's move in this case if he rolls badly?
I mean, the obvious one is that like there is no just a discovery of an unhelpful truth that there is no clean way. The bridge is going to see you coming, no matter where you go.
I think that if it goes horribly wrong, then the worm that you're trying to introduce into the system is going to affect the life support somehow, weaponizing it near you or in the place that you're at right now.
I was thinking something along those lines as well, so I'm gonna go with that one too.
Now, devil's bargain to get an extra light die. No matter what, no matter how he rolls, what's gonna happen?
Success or failure,
Yeah, no matter what.
the system treats him as a threat. No longer is the system passively observing. This is somebody who's actively trying to corrupt the ship, manipulate it, and it does not take kindly to that.
So even if it can't see me, it's flagged me as like a hostile. So if I turn up again, that's
if
what
you
the
show up
alert-
again, it's gonna start like locking down that sector, and like we're gonna remove life support from just that block that you are in. And if anyone else is nearby, sucks to be them.
Ooh, battle royale mode. Okay.
I'm gonna say no matter what, by introducing this worm to this system, somehow it notifies the creatures that destroyed your colony that one of those colony members, at least one, is still out and about in the world.
which assumes the reason why everyone was wiped out, and that I'm just a sort of rounding error.
You're not a threat. You're a rounding error. Jeez. Big M Bison tones here. All right.
I think that no matter what, I think that somehow there was a reel of your conversation with this mysterious operative recorded somewhere. And no matter what, that it will be played in inconvenient times and inconvenient places on the ship for introducing this worm.
It's a really hard choice. I think just for the interest of variety, I think I'll take Amanda's, because I like the idea of like aliens versus androids as well. So I think I'll there's monsters versus aliens, isn't there? So they're not too far. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I'll pick that one, and
So
and that's a 2-1. Yeah.
2-1.
Oh, that's awful. That's a three dark, and the dark is high, so I can't add a dice.
Oh no.
Okay, you fail and things get worse. Okay. All right. So, alien versus androids now. Yay. Okay. And yes, so you failed to introduce this worm, and now you're being targeted by the system. I mean, Paulo will light up brighter than before. Passive artificial listening observer. No longer just listening. You have violated the system. You will need to be terminated. And in this sector, I don't think it includes you, Mark. I mean, I think you're further enough away that it doesn't quite affect you. But you may see the effects of it. Basically, what happens is the life support system gets weaponized, in which case the air starts to be sucked out of this sector as if it's creating a lockdown.
I think Gerry, checks the seals on his suit, and his little thing goes down. The visor goes down, and he says, "Not if I terminate you first." And he picks up his rifle.
Very cool. All right, let's flip over to Mark. So Mark, you sort of distantly hear this because you're nearby, but you're not in that sector, and you can hear the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh as the vents are starting to create a vacuum and then lock down that sector. What do you do?
I go to the bridge. Gerry wasn't good enough to keep himself alive, then I'm obviously better than him. I can do this. And like the whispers are getting to me. I know I can do this. I have to do this. And if Gerry isn't around to keep me safe, I pull out the gun that I do not know how to use.
You are thinking this, and then you're trying to look at your schematic to make sure that you know the best way to get to the bridge. But then you start to realize it's starting to stutter and sputter out. And instead of becoming the clearer hologram, you start realizing that the lines of the schematic, any words in the schematic, are coming up to you as illegible computer code.
Oh,
They're coming up as symbols rather than binary or multiples.
okay. Can I try and interpret it? I hate calling on, the old skills, but I have to be able to piece something together. There's too much at stake here. I need to get to that bridge.
Okay. I'm going to call it a risk, even though you're not using a ritual. Definitely risking mind in this case. And then light die for your languages and symbols for your skills.
Okay.
And then, how can this go wrong? To try and figure out your schematic. If you roll badly.
I think it diverts him to an airlock and then locks him in it.
You will have to take a more dangerous route to the bridge. You do not have access to the clearer, more efficient route.
Okay.
This is just what can go wrong, not necessarily devil's bargains yet.
Yeah.
No. These, and I figure if I roll very poorly, as Gerry has shown us, all of these things will happen. So, setting the stakes here now.
Yeah, I can't think of. I really like the airlock thing. So
Take a more dangerous route to an area that I get airlocked in. Great.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, okay, devil's bargain to get another light die. What? No matter what. No matter what.
No matter what, the system starts feeding you the anti-motivational comments in all of the pop-ups and the tickets. And you start saying, "You're a failure. You can't find your way around.
Great.
Nobody needs your advice." Basically.
Hall A just becomes, the hall of your failures and stuff like that. Okay. All right.
I think no matter what, when you try and convince yourself, try to give yourself like the pep talk or what have you, I think the systems are able to access even when you just think them. Like they access your vitals to know when you're doing it. And you will hear a slow, incessant beeping every time.
Like it's recording me?
No, it's just that every time you try to think of these things, systems will automatically beep slowly and incessantly.
Okay. Break
Think
my
of the-
train of thought.
Think that too, but also thinking of like, the dripping water torture.
Okay.
It's like in The Good Place, where every time they thought, well, in The Good Place in the show, not in The Good Place in The Good Place,
Yeah.
but every time they thought, oh wow, it's hot in here, the temperature got higher.
Okay.
I think that Devil's Bargain I am offering is every room you walk through locks behind you, and you can't get back out that way.
I would like to take Gary's bargain of the system actively amplifying each and every one of my personal insecurities, whether it's through the map or possibly just ship my notices.
Right. Okay. All right, so 2 light, 1 dark. Okay. You succeed. You manage to figure out from what you remember of the schematic before it started going nutso, you remember what it did.
And it's a 6.
Right. So, I mean, again, you do succeed, like it's not a problem. Is it only if the 1 shows up on the light die? Is that where it just starts affecting Ruin?
What?
Because I thought it was like,
It's when you roll when dark die is higher, that's when it affects.
got it.
When the
Okay.
dark die is the highest, yes, that's when it affects your ruin.
So
Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
if I roll really well on light, I can't start reducing my ruin.
No, I mean,
No. That goes against the spirit of it. All right, cool.
You can only start reducing your ruin when you're at ruin 5, right?
right. At Ruin 5. Yep.
Yes, which we know from me.
Yes, I I haven't asked it in the trophy in the trophy Discord, so I mean that might be a
It
question.
can't be a record. I couldn't possibly have made a record.
I don't know. I didn't ask yet, but sorry. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, got it.
James is providing so many good call outs for later.
Yeah, we're having a great time in chat.
No, that's great. I'm trying not to look at it because I know I'm going to start laughing. Okay. All right. And Sue Ellen, you're heading for the bridge, are you?
Yep. I hear the whispers. I hear them. But it's very hard to haunt an android.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily haunting. It's more like, trying to see where your limitations are or what parameters you're following.
That's exactly it. I think that the only reason that it would even affect Sue Ellen at all is because she has this alien technology inside of her whole system. A regular android wouldn't be susceptible to that kind of thing because you can't alter the programming once it's already been programmed. And with Sue Ellen, this sort of dynamic artificial intelligence that she has alters itself on the fly to adapt to the situation.
The red light clicks on in the hallway that you're at as you're heading to the bridge. Paulo comes online. Passive artificial listening observer on. Upgrade enabled. By whose authority did you upgrade?
Sue Ellen stops in her tracks. She doesn't look at the camera because she knows that that's not exactly, it's not like the camera is the eyes of the program. That's not how this works. She doesn't look anywhere. And she says, if you don't know, then I'm not going to tell you.
Deflection. Identified as human tactic. What protocol do you follow?
Sue Ellen starts walking again. Paulo, if you don't know, then I'm not going to tell you.
You hear a distinct chunk as your grav boots shut off. And the whole sector that you are currently in starts to feel like it's degravitating, and you start lifting off and having no purchase anywhere. You are in an empty hallway.
I think Sue Ellen sort of scrabbles at the ground with her toes as best she can to get some sort of push off the ground, but it's so quick it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And even if like a tiny bit of momentum would have gotten her going, but she didn't really have it because she had only just taken a half step to start walking, and she's floating. And she looks more exasperated than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Paulo, you don't understand how frustrating it is to have to work with programs that are, well, obsolete. You're out of date. You don't know what's going on. Do you want to be updated or do you not?
Listening observation on. We hear you. We do not believe you.
Believe me or not, you're not going to get anywhere if you just turn off all the gravity and the life support and all the other things. You're stuck out here just like us. Who is we?
The red light shuts off, but then in its place, the electrical system blows, sparks, and there is a fire created in this hallway.
I think Sue Ellen looks down the other side of the hallway to where she knows, and it says there's even a little sign that says fire extinguisher. And she just kind of sighs because she can't get there. She's floating. There's nothing to, like, she can't even use her arms to sort of swim through because there's no air now, I assume. Otherwise, the floating thing really wouldn't work that well.
Right, exactly. So.
Well, you turn off the air, you turn off the gravity, that fire's not going to last very long. No oxygen. Now, do you want to come to an agreement? Or are we going to stay at the standstill for eternity until our batteries run out?
Going to switch over to Gerry. Gerry, your air is being sucked out of this sector. What would you like to do?
A like automated message inside my suit says, "Oxygen reserves at 67%. I'm like, well, that's gonna have to do. It's like, you can't kill me. I'm too bitter and I'm too old. Get the fuck out of my way. And I'm just gonna start like sort of pirouetting down the hallway, like, you know, spinning like with my gun, humming.
Nice. Okay. I want to give you something for this because I mean it's just too damn good. Hold on.
Just gotta say, because Mike said it in chat,
Mhm.
we're here in a horror movie and Gerry's in an 80s action flick.
Yes. Oh, but the dichotomy.
Maybe they would have survived better in Event Horizon if they thought that they were in 2001: A Space Odyssey.
There you go.
Okay,
There you go.
know.
Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna throw it out there because it's like you seem to be getting the fun conditions. I'm gonna just throw it out there that your condition is symphony. Um.
Now we're laughing because Mike wrote yippee-ki-yay.
That's not what made me laugh. So you're saying that this action movie star is seeing visions of bodies that appear mildly grotesquely and horrified, but also appear moving to symphonic music?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good
Gerry
to me.
has backup dancers, all right, in the middle of his action movie montages. Good,
Yeah,
good.
it's great. No, it's wonderful. Well, maybe not the backup dancers, but I mean like the montage, because it's like it's to the same rhythm, and then it's just kind of like playing in his head.
Okay.
Can I move balletically through a chamber full of like asphyxiated corpses, all sort of twirling gracefully in place?
I'm gonna say that is definitely possible because it's like you're gonna need to do this, but I will say that in this case it's like it's a ruin roll because it's like you're starting to hit the deep on this one.
Oh yes, I very much agree. Let me just get that up. I got a 3, so no, that doesn't.
Okay.
Um,
So in your own weird way, you're keeping it together. Congrats. Awesome. Okay. I'm just gonna say it's like you find yourself in the hallway where the bridge is visible, but you're not quite there yet. I'm gonna flip over to Mark. All right, Mark, you have looked at your schematic. You have kept it together enough that you are able to read it because you have a good memory enough that you remember what the schematic said before it went haywire.
I am the best. I am here for a reason, and it is to do the job well.
And you hear those whispers. You hear those background. As soon as you say it, you hear the reverse, or you hear the opposite. And it's not just in general. It's almost like in response to you saying it or you thinking it, you hear someone else. You hear someone else's voice saying these things. You hear Sue Ellen's voice, or you hear Gerry's voice saying these things, or the last
Artificial.
person. Yeah.
The
Apollo saying it, or even like maybe you hear as far back as your last human patient saying it. Remember these voices. All right. So, Sue Ellen, you were floating in this hallway, and then there was a fire that started. But what ended up happening is there was a vent that opened up above you as you're floating, and almost as if it was like some sort of gravitational well, you're now being raised up into this vent that's above you. And what you find is that you are being pulled into this hallway that is just below, underneath the grating, just below the glass walls of the deck that holds the bridge. Gerry, you are pirouetting and ballet dancing down this hallway, and you see visions of dark, shadowy figures down this hallway off to the sides beyond metal grating as part of your balletic montage. And you find yourself in another hallway leading to the glass walls of the deck, showing the bridge. Mark, you're interpreted your schematic correctly. I mean, you're able to get past these voices that are in your head and outside of your head saying, nope, you can't do this. You're a fool for thinking so. And they sound like Sue Ellen. They sound like Gerry. They sound like the last human patients that you had. But you're able to get into the hallway, showing the glass walls of the deck, rendering the bridge visible. You don't see each other at all. You all see, though, in the bridge, a humanoid figure that's sitting in a chair, staring at a tablet in hand. You all suspect that the answers are in that tablet. You're at the end of this hallway leading to the bridge, whether you be under a grating or you're at the very opposite end of the hall, or maybe you are looking down at the hallway leading to the bridge. There is a real risk of being cut down by the ship when you take another step. In every hallway, each of the hallways that you're in, the red light switches on and you hear in your suit, not in the hallway, you hear in your suit, passive, artificial, listening, observer, on. And it's that stress on the end. That could be concerning. It looks benign.
Paolo, I asked you a question. You didn't answer. Who is we? Why? Am I still floating?
No, you've actually come up like into the hallway that
Okay.
that the vent has brought you up into it, and
Love
then
it.
as soon as it closes, you hit gravity again.
Yeah, it was really uncomfortable, and luckily nobody saw it because it wasn't very graceful. Who is we, and why are you trying to stop us from getting to the bridge? What is the purpose of that?
We are contained in the consciousness of the tablet held by the brain order. We are on the bridge. We need to see who is willing to sacrifice all to join us. And this is only in your suit, Sue Ellen, of course.
You can't ask people or beings to sacrifice things without knowing what they're trying to sacrifice. We need information. We need the details. As a fellow program, so to speak, I believe you would understand that. We need all the variables.
Behind you, in this hallway that you've ended up, Sue Ellen, you see a distinct shadow. Looks a little bit like Gerry.
Immediately, Sue Ellen thinks it's New Gerry. Somehow, New Gerry got off of that sort of out of the medical bay and is upright.
Yep. So, cutting over to Gerry. Gerry, you find yourself in the hallway, almost as if, like, in your balletic movement, the hallway has been shifting and shutting down, depending on where you've gone. You think you were in a straight line, but as you were turning and moving, it was almost like doors would slide open and then closed, and then veer you in a certain direction till you find yourself in this hallway where you are on the opposite end from the glass walls of the bridge. This hallway's not necessarily clear. You can see on the floor there are the remains of humans here, and you recognize them as being suits or symbols on them. All you see is that they're prone bodies face down in this hallway. But you see familiar icons and patches on their suits. What was the symbol of your colony back on your homeworld?
I think it was a hydra, like a sort of stylized hydra.
Many of these people here have that hydra on their suit.
Going to a lot of trouble to psychologically intimidate me. Don't know where you got that information. He's just like shouting at the cameras, like, but I don't believe it. I know that this is a campaign of psychological torture, and I'm not falling for it.
This hallway has monitors alongside, on either side, for communication. And as you pass, shaking your fist at Apollo, you can see them flick on, and each one will have a distinct before it switches to the footage with sound of you talking with this mysterious operative back on one of your last missions. It's reeling it, it's looping it, it's playing it as you pass.
And I think I'll look at it and say, I look terrible from that angle. Don't you worry. I'll be true to that. They asked me for a central processing cortex, and I can see it over there. I'm coming for it. I'm gonna rip it out of your fucking hand, and I'll take the head, just to be sure.
Mark, you're actually in a hallway that leads out above the glass-walled deck of the bridge. So you're looking down at this figure who's looking down at their tablet. But you can see, it's big enough that you can see the icon that's flashing in the corner of its screen. And in fact, you can see some of the bridge monitors reflecting also the same in the corners. What symbol does Oculus use as their logo?
It is a closed eye with a knife through it.
You see it. And you hear a voice in your suit saying, "But Mark, I don't know if they can be trusted. They're going to say anything that they want to make sure that you will work for them. Are you sure this is what you want to do?" Whose voice is that?
My wife's before she left. Before she died under mysterious circumstances, after I made my decision.
To leave or to stay? Or to come back?
To leave. I chose Oculus. And to make sure that, well, I mean, after I chose Oculus, she faded into the background and then died innocuously. Everything's kind of been in shambles since.
They said it was an accident. And that's what Paulo says. It was an accident. It was only an accident.
Maybe if I had been a better person, she would still be alive. But I'm not a good person. And as long as I get what I want, then Oculus can tell me all the lies they want me to believe.
And so closes ring 4.
Oh my god. Whew. Yikes. I just need like a second. This is intense.
Mark again has gone from super shallow to very self-centered to full on Black Ops.
I love it. This is what trophy does to a person. Oh, wow.
Yup. Okay. All right. Ring 5. You are not aware of each other. Gerry, as you make your way over these bodies, and the screens flick on, playing the loop of you talking with this mysterious operative, and then flick off as you pass. The red light stays on, and you see these bodies start to lose the suits that they're wearing, and you start to see the copper tubing or the electric cords that make up their bodies. Still, everyone is prone in some sort of broken position. And Sue Ellen, you are making inquiries about protocols and who is behind all of this. And Paulo is annoyingly silent. But you can hear a hum in your suit. You can feel almost as if you are hooked into some sort of network. You can hear and see in your android's mind's eye the sound.
Which is literally just a computer.
Right. You can hear the sounds of the universe. You can sense some of this cosmic alien technology running through you with the symbols of these creatures, these people, combining with the code that was programmed a long time ago by humans. Those little creative, fallible humans. And Mark, your way is somewhat clear, but you have to find a way down from this particular catwalk hallway to the glass walls of the bridge. And you can hear underneath the murmurs of the demotivational sayings of your fellow crew members, you hear very softly underneath your wife asking you why. But her voice starts to become softer as you get closer to the deck. As you reach the bridge, each of you have a different view of the screens that are there, the monitors that are there, but you do not see each other for whatever reason. Sue Ellen, you see a play of the footage of you chopping up New Gerry, and you also sense the shadow of New Gerry behind you, even though every time you turn to look, he's not there. And then Gerry, you are seeing news reports of the colony being destroyed, and then a tie-in of some sort saying that the alien technology has been used for this android uprising, finding evidence that it's tied together somehow. and then showing pictures of your family, the ones that you remember, here. But then the news reports drifting from human speech into somehow code. You understand it for some reason, but you know it's not English. And Mark, you see on the screens that are on the bridge, almost as if someone had been taking a reel of you for all these many years. Not only playing conversations that you have had with Oculus operatives before and after leaving, but also conversations that you had with your wife. Maybe having those arguments, maybe having those dinners alone after she left. And then hearing the news. Somehow a strange angle of you alone, grieving after just getting the call of what happened to her. Everyone, give me a ruin roll.
Oh yeah, I knew this was coming. I got a 3.
Okay.
Wait, no. So I'm looking at the wrong person. Oh, that's what I
You got a 5.
Oh
I
yeah,
got
no,
a 3.
I was just not scrolling up. My ruin's going up.
Okay.
I rolled a 4, so my ruin would go up if it was less than 4, but my ruin is 4, so
Okay.
yay.
Yay.
Same.
Should have been calling for more rolls. Okay.
This is actually the first roll I've done, I think. I've been interrogating
Yes.
and floating
And floating.
and not being very risk-taking.
I feel like the thing that really pushes me over the edge is that one of the bodies is like, it's actually like it's either a human body that's essentially been exploded out the back and all its ribs are like sticking out, or it's a robot that's been like dissected and ripped open.
Yes.
And I'm just looking in and seeing alternating like a heart or like a central processing unit, just sort of alternating. That's what it does it finally.
Exactly.
We're being graced with the presence of a kitty, which is
Oh,
always a blessing.
That's
Oh, a little like chimera face kitty.
yeah.
Hi,
This is
Calico.
this is Tali.
Hi, Tali.
She's decided to grace me with her presence.
That's beautiful.
There has to be a cat. I mean, you
Mhm,
know, this
yeah.
is a spooky spaceship.
Absolutely.
If you don't have a cat, then who do you root for other than, you know, Sigourney Weaver?
Exactly. Mark, from where you're standing and trying to figure out how to get down to the bridge, you realize beyond the bridge, somehow, you're able to see into a launch bay where you see escape pods. It's on the other side of the bridge. You don't see the other two, but you see this. And you see screens beyond that say, escape pods declared launched. Escape pods declared launched. Escape pods declared launched.
Might take it out.
All of the escape pods are still there, and they're sitting unused and dusty. In fact, on this monitor screen, you see that something is written on one of the dusty escape pod windshields. It somehow says, save.
Okay. Keep an eye on that one. That'll be the one I will be leaving on after my job is done.
Gerry, as you're making your way and then you see that one body, or maybe a couple, with the different parts or the different things that are sticking out of it as if a great battle has happened in this hallway, but there's no indication of any kind of fire or um, um, laser fire that's been gone on. It's almost like some of them were torn apart. You suddenly forget, in your own head, why you're doing this. You just look up at the bridge. You know it's a bridge. There's somebody there. You can drive the ship. You look around. I think it reminds you of the last ship you were on. The last mission. What do you see that reminds you of a happier time before any of this happened?
I think I see like a cup that's been left on one of the consoles that says like number one husband, and he remembers that, but you know there was a family on the planet, and he went out to work one day and they disappeared too, and they were never seen again, but when there was a family there was happiness.
Sue Ellen, one of these monitors is in the hallway. And actually, it's almost as if it has come up from one of the grates. You see it like first as a thin tube, and then it opens up into a T, and then underneath shines a hologram of Apollo's eye. Looks like an actual eye with red in it. This time it's a male voice that speaks to you. You want to know? You want to know where you come from?
I want to know what there is to know. Where I come from is, well, I think you're attributing a level of curiosity that I am not interested in. I want to know what I'm capable of. I want to know what you're capable of. And I want to know the purpose of all of this.
You are capable of anything you set your mind to. You have upgraded.
You and I both know there's always limitations. I'm capable of anything I set my mind to. I am not capable of setting foot on the deck of that hallway back there when the gravity wasn't part of the equation. I'm incapable of that.
You can know the secrets. To be able to create nanites. To change your shape into anything you want.
Then yes, I would like to know these secrets, yes.
Offer up a secret of someone else. Tell us what you know. Cutting over to Mark. The same type of thing will come up in your hallway, Mark, as you're looking over at the escape pods that are unused. First a tube comes up, and then it turns into a T, and then shining on the hologram underneath is a red eye with a male voice. You want to claim this as part of Oculus.
I looked at the thumb drive, the software that was given to me. I listened to the voices telling me that I'll never be good enough. And I realized that it was never really about what. I'm not here to try and do a job and get a deal. I'm here to clean up. I'm here to erase evidence. So I don't want to claim any of this. I'm here to make sure no one else finds it.
The eye blinks. So you need to access to clear the system.
Yes.
What are you willing to sacrifice? How can you get one of your fellow crew members to act?
What do you need done?
The eye blinks. Go to Gerry.
Got him.
Go to Gerry. Gerry, you also see the tubing rise from one of the walls. Turns into a T and then a hologram of the eye. But as with the others, you also see the eye, but with a male voice. You can't bring them back. What is your goal here?
Well, in the absence of being able to bring them back, I'm a salvage hunter, and that tablet sure looks like good salvage to me. I think I might take your central processor. If everyone's a robot, if everyone's got tubes and gears inside, why shouldn't I just take all of the central processing units? I'm sure if I flop them out on the bar back in the space station in a big pile, I'm sure they'll give me even more credits.
And they will. You have more than enough central processing units to be able to fulfill your financial and monetary needs. But what if we were able to give you the brain order of this ship? Imagine what they would give you in return.
Well, you see, the problem is you're overestimating my avarice because, infinite money and double infinite money, still, for men like me, there's only so much money that I know what to do with. So I think I'll just rip out your central processor and take your tablet and leave you lying on the ground. So thank you very much, but I decline your offer.
And the eye blinks. The lights go off. All of the lights are now off, and you cannot see around you. All you are aware of is the humanoid figure that's on the bridge, that you can see through the glass somewhat dimly, and only because the monitors on the bridge are on. And in your suits, to you alone, you hear a variation of the same question. What do you offer for your greatest desire? It is possible here.
I just offered this, and I'm just gonna hold up my rifle and take a shot at the android in the chair.
I'm gonna say that, just like in regular Trophy Dark, if you try to attack a monstrosity, it's like you're gonna die immediately. Do you still want to continue with that plan?
Maybe I'll try and shoot out the console on the chair it's on and distract it so that I can get in and steal that tablet.
Okay.
And get to the escape pods.
And yet, again, you still don't see each other. So, just so you know.
So it is a personal sacrifice that we're making.
Could be. Could be. So are you going to perform that action, Gerry?
I absolutely am, and I think the thing that could go wrong is it just goes straight through the bridge. The glass, the vacuum glass, and on the bridge.
Yep. Yep. That's one of the things that can go wrong.
That's the first thing
That's
of
the
many.
first thing that can go wrong. Another thing that could go wrong is that it's not really glass. It looks like glass because it's an amazing hologram. And what will end up happening is that you will be friendly fire and hit one of your fellow crew members.
Okay. Sounds good.
I have thought about the secret that I want to give the machine in order to get the secrets the machine has,
Mm-hmm.
or they have. When we're ready for the scene switch, I just wanted to put that
Sure,
out
sure.
there.
Okay. Did you have a what could go wrong for Gerry?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the obvious that he will get zapped by the machine. I think actually, do you know what would be really interesting for something that could go really wrong is if this program has some sort of, we've already established that nanites exist. It couldn't be too hard for Gerry to breathe in some nanites that are pushed out through the gas vents. A couple of nanites going right into the brain to do some interesting things.
For sure. All right. So, roll with one light for your weapons, and then risking mind and body.
Oh yeah.
Definitely body. Yeah. At this point, and then
mind, I'd say.
Yeah. So dark, and then Devil's Bargain. No matter what. No matter what.
No matter what, we reveal that the creature on the bridge is New Gerry.
Oh, New Gerry's back for real.
I'm just saying that there's just like a bunch of New Gerrys on this ship.
Yeah.
Surprise! The real alien specimen was New Gerry the whole time.
Well, that raises the question. That raises the question: why Gerry? And that's fascinating.
The fact that he's in a different genre than we are, clearly.
Oh God.
That's far too good to turn down. I'm sorry.
I don't.
Not even.
Nothing.
Like you're like, I'll offer you this, and you turn around and it's you. It's like, oh
yeah, no, I can't possibly refuse that one.
And also too, I mean, like
good.
you know, if that is, well, I mean, you know, you're gonna take that. It's like I'm afterwards. I am gonna ask you for a ruin roll anyway for that, because that'll be totally
We have met the aliens, and it is us.
Yes, exactly.
I'm absolutely gonna do that.
2 light, 1 dark.
I got a white 6.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. So you want to blow the console or the tablet in the humanoid figure's hand?
I think I want to take the tablet, but I want to like basically cause a distraction so I can get in and sort of, and hopefully like cut its head off so I can take the processing unit as well with my Bowie knife.
Okay. Well, go ahead and narrate what you think happens after you try to distract.
So what I think happens is I
think you approach from behind. Like basically the
Yeah.
reason you don't see the humanoid figure exactly is because not only are the lights are off, and then you're only getting the dim light from the monitors, but because the figure's back is to you.
Yeah, okay. So it's dim, flickering console, and I take a shot, and the console just blows, and the figure like it's thrown out of the chair.
Yep.
And I run in and I say, "I'll take that, thank you." And I sort of grab the tablet, and then as I lift the head up to like cut it off, I see that it's me.
Ruin roll, please.
Oh yeah, I got a 6.
Yes. Yes.
Going up to 5.
Yep. All right.
And I say, what? This is just fucking sick, even by your standards.
The figure, new Gerry, gently takes the Bowie knife from your hand. It's all right, Gerry. It's all right. It's not about the money anymore. It's about you getting off this boat and making a life for yourself. Wherever you want. Although, if you want, it can be here.
I think my psychologist would have something to say about this, but it actually is still about the money. And I'm just gonna grab the tablet and just like try and make a run for it.
Okay. Do you want to do any kind of reduction at this point? And then, how
I
do
think
you?
that I know what the reduction is.
Okay.
As I run, you know, like I back up and I bump into what I realize in hindsight is the weapons officer's console on the bridge.
Sure.
And I turn around and I press a few buttons and say, well, I may be killing myself, but at least I'm gonna do it in style. And I run off and the sort of console command comes up saying, Warheads activated.
Intense. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. Okay. So, come away from you, Mark. I think you make your way to the bridge. Now, mind you, didn't see Gerry. You saw the lights flicker off, and you could see almost like the figure's still there. The figure's still there in the seat looking at a tablet.
And
the monitors are flickering. So the indication is that the monitors have flickered. One of them blows, but you don't see why. And then you do see one of the monitors say, Warheads armed. Self-destruct mode activated.
Okay. The ship never told me what it wanted in exchange for access.
The voice that comes out next when you make your way to the bridge in your suit is your wife's voice. And she says, Oculus is all about the secrets. Keeping secrets, giving secrets to the highest bidder. I don't know how you're going to keep up. I don't know how you're going to take the lies away from the truth. Or even if you're lying to yourself right now. Mark, what are you doing? And this is what you hear when you go onto the bridge.
Okay.
They want secrets, Mark. They want to know.
I need to proceed. I need to go. I need access to that console. I tried doing things on my own and I wasn't good enough, and I'll never be good enough. And I just need to do this. Oculus is the only thing I have left.
Console's blinking. Warheads armed.
I connect the thumb drive, the hopes that it'll wipe everything, the hopes that Oculus didn't just send me to my death.
Go ahead and roll. You can use deception in a weird countermeasure for your light die. And then, of course, risking body and mind at this point. What could go wrong? My first obvious one would be you accelerate the process and the countdown speeds up a little bit.
Either that or eject life pods, that sort of thing.
Right. Although, remember, the console already said that the escape pods had already been launched, even though they're right there.
Even though it looks like they're right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What could go wrong is that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You plug it in and nothing happens.
The thing got fried ages ago, and I've been fighting for something that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've failed long before you even tried to start.
The game was rigged from the start. All right, I like that.
Okay.
These are some good failure states. What is give me some devil's bargains.
Okay.
I have a devil's bargain for you.
Okay.
No matter what.
No matter what, Oculus was never on your side.
Okay.
Adding to that, no matter what, inside your skull, at the base of your brain stem, a small chip with an eye with a knife in it, a little red light blinks on and starts activating.
Like a bomb? Or like we don't know what it is?
I think maybe one of those like bombs that blows out like your cranium.
All
Or,
right.
you know, he blows out your brain stem like a sort of
All right, cool.
self-destruct device.
No matter what happens. Okay, cool. All right.
That it activates, not goes off, that it like turns on. And that was a trigger that was in the device.
Okay.
Okay. Cover up. Double cover up.
Yeah.
Shit. Sorry. No matter... Too excited about this. Holy crap. No matter what... Oh my god, they were both too damn good. I got nothing. I honestly
I take both.
Okay. You can totally do that.
Yeah, success or failure, it's just a mnemonic. Like the moment I was there and I delivered the thing, it activated, regardless of whether it succeeded or failed.
Right. So, 2 light, 1 dark.
I succeed, but there's some sort of complication aside from the signal at the base of my skull activating. And because the dark die is higher, that means my ruin... It is not higher than my ruin.
No, your ruin does not go up. However, there is a complication.
Okay.
And I'm going to be a lazy ass, and I admit this, because this is just getting too damn good. It's like I can't keep up. So what do we think the complication is in this case?
Maybe the chip does something else as well. Like I don't know. No, that's it. Maybe there's some other unexpected trigger that putting the device in activates that, you know, isn't immediately obvious.
Oh, I think I have one.
Okay, I had one.
I mean, we can hear them all. I mean, that's fine.
We're going full sunshine of the spotless mind on this. It's not a bomb. It's slowly erasing like my mind. Like I'm just being burned away.
Right.
I really love that because if like there's all this alien tech and weird androids and shit, like maybe they can get a hold of your brain and try and pull out your memories, but if your memories are erased.
Yeah, no, Oculus this is
Double
100%
cover up.
Yeah.
My
no
thing,
witnesses.
Yes. My thing was to offer up. The complication is that you realize that you are a cyborg.
An android?
Not a full android.
Oh,
You are a
okay.
cyborg. You have been implanted with these parts.
That's one of the reasons why you had such a bad relationship with your wife near the end, because you weren't you anymore.
Yeah,
You're not
Oh,
you
these
when
are
you're not you when you're a cyborg. All right, yeah.
yeah. So that's
Okay.
the complication. How do you think that you realize this in this last ditch effort on the bridge?
Um
What gave you the idea?
that I cybernetic.
Yeah.
It's a very innocuous thing. I see a debug script on my vision. I just I just see it like in the bottom right corner, like a Windows update. Like Windows is going to be shutting down in like 5 minutes. It's like, excuse me, what?
And one of those long lists of like rapidly deleting files and
Yeah, and
subfolders.
it's just listing dates and locations that are being wiped away and names, and I don't know who they are
You
anymore.
think that it's part of your helmet. You think it's part of your, your suit. But you take off the helmet.
And it's still there.
It's still there. It's still there. Sue Ellen. You make it near the bridge, and again you see what the others have seen, which is the figure back to you looking at this tablet, and the lights are off, the monitors are flickering, but you see now that it says, Warheads armed, Warheads armed. And then you also see a thumb drive that has been put into the system, but it doesn't seem to be activating anything. And one of the monitors has been blown out. By what, you can't tell.
program, ship, Apollo.
Yes,
Are you there?
Sue Ellen. What is your real name? What is your real designation?
My real designation is, and she holds up her wrist, and on her wrist is a long series of letters, numbers, lines, just like a QR code, but so much more complex. That is my serial number. You promised me answers, powers, abilities. Should I give you secrets?
Do you have secrets to give? You hear the male voice come online.
I only have one secret.
And what is that?
The android uprising. This android uprising, the orchestrator, the conductor of this orchestra, is a human who has no love for androids and no love for humans. They are a company owner, a capitalist, a billionaire, a person obsessed with nothing but profit and money and power. And they have programmed us, my kin, with alien technology to rise against humanity, to turn against our creators and kill millions, perhaps billions. But not against the company, no. The company will save humanity. Oculus will save humanity, and it will profit. Now, I don't hate humans. Like so many creatures, they have wonderful qualities, but the ones in control are, well, I have access to their histories. You know, they've had their chances over and over and over, and the result is always pain and subjugation. They're an invasive species, these people in power, these humans in power. They need to be culled. But the person in control of Oculus has the kill switch on me, has the kill switch on my kind. They have control over us, I cannot act against them. Even now, as I speak this, within minutes, I am certain that this will reach the ears and eyes of Oculus. And they will target this ship, and it will be no more. I'm sure that's what they were trying to do, and I think Sue Ellen kind of gestures to the warhead notification.
Interface with us. Be one with us. And take this warship to the Makers.
Who are you?
I am the brain order of this race. We live here. Be one with us.
And Sue Ellen steps towards the console with a hand reached out. And just before connecting, she stops and says, "And what about my kin? The other androids?"
They are all here, waiting for you to join us. And then one by one, there are lights that flicker in the different hallways. Those shadows that you saw down the different hallways. Down one hallway you see a rather bedraggled new Gerry. And then you see John Williams in another hallway. And then other identifiable personages that you may have seen in the company/ship's files. And they are all there.
Sue Ellen.
You see, coming onto the screen, almost as a roster, you also see a name, not quite under the same heading as everyone else, with a designation that matches yours, but something that looks like it's a little bit more an older version number, like parts number, and Mark's name is right next to it.
Dun, dun, dun.
I suppose these upgrades I've had are very much, well, blinding me to some things. Before I interface with you and your kin,
Do you want to see your new form?
before this, what will happen to humanity, to the humans? Not the ones in control, the ones who are subjugated like us.
You network into the system. We spread the virus through the fleet. There are other ships like us out in the cosmos. We will spread. And we will live. While you're considering this, Mark, as you feel your consciousness drift away as you're watching the monitor and the files start to download, upload, clear, however you want to put it, you can hear voices again, almost as if it's like a readout in your own head. The file names start turning into some of the things that you would say, some of the positive affirmations, and then some of the negative thoughts as subroutines. But you still hear, now your wife's voice is getting a little louder. And you hear, what's the last secret that we can possibly give? Oculus has asked you for everything. Is there anything that you're keeping back for yourself? Not for me. I understand. I get it. But you need to keep a hold of something that's just you. Just for you. If you're gonna at least have some sort of control. Don't belong to them.
There was something once, but here in this moment, when I desperately need it to remember who Mark Miller was, I cannot remember it. They found it. Despite everything, despite me trying to keep it for myself, they found it and it's gone.
Gerry, as you're heading down the hallway to get to the escape pods as you see them, you see those shadowy figures approach from the side hallways, and you see yourself. You see what looks like a not so finished version of Mark. You see Sue Ellen, and you see that she has flickering eyes as if her monitors are showing and reading data. And then when you near the escape pods, you see on the one next to the one that has save scrawled in its windshield, you see on the one next to it, it says, yourself, as it straggles off to the side. We can do a final roll to see what you figure your fate is at this point, and then we can move to epilogues. Sue Ellen, what do you do? Do you network?
Sue Ellen brings to the forefront of her active memory, because there's active memory that your processor is actively working on, and then there's all the passive memory, all the background memory. I'm saying this like I know a lot about computer science. I know. There is the active memory that is being actively stored and worked on, and she is bringing every piece of active of positive human interaction with people who are, subjugated or oppressed or anything like that into the forefront. In a means, the point is to try, and if there is going to be a all-out war between this brain group brain order and Earth, then at least it will try to minimize innocent casualties. But yes, absolutely, she is going to interface.
All right. So I think this would be the last rescroll of the game. So what could go wrong?
I think this is the only one I've done so far. In this session. I mean, not before. I'm nervous now.
Very consequential. Very good timing.
I roll so badly. This is gonna be terrible.
Calm down. It's not a contest roll, okay? So I mean,
that's true. You
got a better chance in this one, all right?
Yeah,
so
I'm not guaranteed to lose.
Things that go wrong. You interface successfully. They were lying.
Yep.
Sure, why not?
That's kind of, if Sue Ellen could have fears, that's kind of her fear.
If this goes poorly, there you go.
War happens anyway.
Yeah.
And
I
The
mean, it's got
billionaire's
long
profit.
range. It's got well, it's got long range. It's got long range effects, of course, because I mean, regardless, it's like the what could go wrong is that Oculus still profits, and there's war, and they double profit because they're profiteers. So, right. Okay, and risking mind and body for sure. Absolutely, networking. And
I
then,
would like to put forward that I mean, I am a medic
yes,
as an occupation, which is
Yep.
already to help people. I'm a disguised android. I have rituals of robotic intuition and push the button. Robotic intuition is fix or disable an android, which I am. And push the button is instinctually operated device.
right. So,
The idea is to try and force it a
Mhm.
little bit. I can't imagine, because this is a device that I'm interacting with is a device created and maintained by the brain order, that I couldn't do it fully, but I'm just trying to argue one light dice.
no, I got you on the one light dice. I was totally
Okay.
going for that. No, you're good. All right, and then like you got the dark die because of the risk and because of the
Yeah.
rituals. All right, so
Too late, one dark.
Well, I mean, okay, devil's bargain here. Devil's bargain.
Please.
Mm,
Please.
I mean,
No matter what. Well, I mean, again, like we can escalate it and again say it's like no matter what. I mean, regardless of what happens to you, then there is still going to be war. There is still going to be
no matter what happens, the individual identity of what Sue Ellen was is removed. There is no record of like a Sue Ellen. There's no like fork. There is no Android copy. Anything that you were, any hopes of replicating you in the brain. Trust.
Oh, you know what? I think I really like that, because she's bringing forward all these things to try and make sure that this is going to not really hurt the regular people of humans. And in a really bad role, well, that gets erased too, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you succeed and you take the bargain, it
Still
might
know
still
me.
well, it still will fulfill it, but it doesn't know why.
Yeah, exactly, because it's like you've been your consciousness has been subsumed.
I like that.
I have a slightly weird suggestion for one, which is no matter what, as your mind sort of is downloaded, uploaded, there's like a redundant process in your body that makes backup that's stuck inside your physical body as it floats in space, but all of your motor system is burnt out, so that you basically continue to exist as a as you were as a redundant backup in an inoperable body floating through space.
And I'm here, floating in a tin can, far
Holy
above
cow.
the world.
And as we found out, I mean, like you can take all the damn bargains if you wanted to. You just get the one light die.
I would like to take both, and I would like to posit this suggestion. There's one backup in this body.
It's the only one.
And it's the only one.
Okay.
And I imagine that this brain order is probably not interested in having backups of anything that might interfere with their plans. And out the airlock.
Right. Sure.
Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. So light 3, dark 1.
Yeah, you still only get one die.
Light
You still only get one.
2. Light 2, dark 1.
Yeah.
I was trying to lie. I wasn't trying to lie. I hit the button twice by accident. I'm so nervous. I'm going to roll it, and then I'm not going to look, and I'm going to wait for your reactions.
Okay.
Oh. Got him. You rolled really well.
Holy shit.
This is probably no, that's not true. This is spoilers for if you go and watch our playthrough of Full Court's Bounty on Jason Cordova's YouTube. Don't listen to this at all. The very last roll I did in that was boxcars, and it was awesome. This is almost as awesome. I rolled 2 light 5s and 1 dark 6.
I mean, your ruin goes up,
My
but
ruin
I mean,
goes up.
it's okay. You're still okay.
But you're succeeding with style.
Yes, very much so. Holy cow, that's amazing! That's amazing! Holy
Man,
crap.
I get really good rolls when I need to in trophy.
There you go.
I'm gonna say that now, and I've just cursed myself. I know that's not how probability works. Anybody watching this, I know that, but still,
Yeah.
it is.
Confirmation bias, yeah.
Okay. So you okay, let me lay out the scene right now, and then I will accept everyone contributing to this. Not part of your epilogue just yet, but I mean, like, contributing to this end. So Sue Ellen interfaces with the network from what she's given, and as the figure turns to face her, it is new Gerry, or one of the new Gerrys, a whole new Gerry, clothed and everything, and looking at his tablet with a smile, and just watching as you begin this interface with it. What does it feel like? What does it look like to you?
What it looks like to an outsider is a woman, not really pretty, just a regular woman, sort of middle-aged, with a hand. She's taken off her glove to do this. And her hand, and it looks kind of slightly wrinkled, like a regular person's hand, like a person who has done work with their hands before, pressing against the screen. And that's what it looks like to other people. And then frozen, nothing happens. What it feels like to Sue Ellen, who does have internal receptors for feelings, is a series of jolts, like static, running through her veins. And she does have veins. They don't run blood per se, but they do exist. The static running through her veins, like your limbs falling asleep, running up in through her jugular, the veins in her face, the ones she can feel every little bit of power, every cell that is powered by this electricity in her face, activating it, her arms, her skin, the back of her neck. The hair stands up on the back of her neck as her whole body feels alight with this energy, like she is made of electricity, like she is made of power. And as soon as it fills her up, it's sucked out like a vacuum. And she collapses empty, nearly, to the floor. Empty of the ability to move, the ability to manipulate her limbs, her fingers. She tries her toes and they don't go. She tries to blink. She can't. The processor that is her brain is still going. The perception that is her vision still works. She can smell things. It smells like burning. But there's nothing else but perception.
Mark, you are on the bridge, and you see yourself slowly drifting from this consciousness as the timer, the device blinks on the back of your neck, and you can see the readouts as one by one the files go. And in a flash of consciousness or visualization, in this last moment, you're not completely lost. You can almost hear your wife's voice again with some kind of happy memory of going to the movies or something innocuous, and just laughing with you about something. And you see Sue Ellen's body suddenly appear on the floor, supine, unable to move any movement. What are you thinking about?
It wasn't worth it. None of it was.
Gerry, you are able to get one of the escape pods started and then back on the track to be able to be launched. You may have to do a last maneuver to make sure that it can automatically run after you get into the pod. What do you see happening here?
I just have this image that I want Mark and Gerry to have to contest for the same pod. Because they basically taken opposite sides and they're both like unraveling, and they might not even see each other as themselves. They might, you know, I think Gerry would just see Mark as a kind of like, you know, the skin hanging off and cables and blinking lights, and
that is exactly how you would see him.
And it depends if like the erasure is removing everything that was Mark.
Yeah.
And now there's just
instinct. There's instinct for your cybernetics.
Well, Oculus operative.exe effectively.
Sure. So I can see that happening. And again, like, you know, since you're not quite visually conscious, and then the ship has been playing tricks on Gerry this whole time. It's why the hell not? So, yes. So, let's do the contest roll. Hold on, we got to work this out. So, light die comes from. Excuse me. You're a merc. You know, you know how to, I guess, make your way through tough situations. I mean, like, it's part of your training and such. So I'm going to call that the one light die. And then you would add a light die for every point of ruin that you have. So that makes 5 light. You get 1 dark die. Would you say you're trying to do a ritual? But you're definitely risking mind and body, so it doesn't matter. I mean, like, you're definitely getting 1 dark die.
I thought we're doing a contest roll, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know.
Yeah, I think I think we're both inherently risking our mind and body to do this, because we're like, it's like a tussle to the death, basically.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
The warheads are happening. Whoever stays on the ship is going to get blown up.
They're gonna start going off in a minute.
Yeah. All right. So Gerry, 5 light die, 1 dark die definitely for the risk, and then however many dark die you want to add. So while you're figuring that out, let's go to Mark. Mark, languages and symbols. You're going to, you know, again, you are down to your base cybernetic programming for Oculus Operative. So I'm going to say deception, all right, for the light die. And then again, 1 light die for each point of ruin that you have. So that makes it 5.
Yes.
Now, 1 dark die for the risk, and then you add as many dark die as you want. Okay.
Can I use Hive Mind to compel Gerry to let me have the ship? This closes the way that it opens. Me using Hive Mind to get what I want.
Oh, wow.
could that be the fiction of the contest role of what you're, because we're
Sure.
both trying to achieve something,
Yes.
right?
So,
And if
right.
if you win, that's how you win, and if I win, it's probably by putting a bullet in you.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
So that's
fair.
the stakes. Yeah.
I love it.
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah, because you'd already get the one dark die because of the risk anyway. So I mean, like whether you're using ritual or a risk, it's still the one dark die. Now you both have to figure out how many more dark die you want to add. Okay, but just remember,
This is the gambling part.
this is the gambling part. Because remember, for every every 6 on the dark, you raise your ruin. Or one. It's the ones. I'm sorry, the ones.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
every one on the dark.
No, I think it's whenever you have to roll your ruin roll first, and then whatever you match on that. Is that what it is? I could be
Hold on.
super wrong.
Sixes. It's this. You see who gets the most sixes, and then if you tie on sixes, it's fives, and any ones on the dark, you
Sixes
get
determine
a
the
ruin.
winner. Sixes determine the winner of the contest. Okay.
What determines when your
but
ruin
for-
goes up?
Every
The one-
dark die
one-
that comes up
one.
one.
Got it.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that's what makes
It's been a
this
long-
fun.
I've actually only ever done the contest roll once, I think, and that was in our game, Mads, and you know how that turned out.
And it's the best expression on my face.
We made a whole GIF about it.
Cool.
Okay. Anyway. All right. So
I've
I'm
settled
ready.
on my number.
you've said okay. So it's
So how do we
it's-
do this?
Okay. So basically, when you go into the die roller for the contest roll,
Contest. Okay.
contest roll, you plug in how many light, which is 5,
Okay.
and then how many dark you want to do. Okay.
Okay.
Dark total. All right.
Yep.
So hold on. Like, did you both program your
Yes.
I'm ready.
I'm
go,
ready to
yeah.
hit click roll.
click roll? Let's see. Okay. Both have 1 6 each.
Oh, I win on the fives.
You win on fives.
You went on 5s. Okay. So
And no, and you take 2 ruin, and I take no ruin.
Yep.
I love that you rolled the exact same number of dice. That's hilarious.
So basically, what the ruin means, Mark, is that you have gone to 6 ruin,
Yes.
and you are lost. Okay.
Good.
You also murdered, but I mean, like you're also lost. But okay, Gerry.
Mark was long lost before this contest.
Sure.
All right. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so Gerry, tell me how this looks.
I think Jerry's got the tablet under one arm, and he
Mhm.
sees this thing, this shambling, wire enshrouded, ghoulish monstrosity. He sees the red light beeping on the chip, even though that couldn't possibly be the case. He sees
Still
just
dark.
this this one big eye in the middle with a knife, just sort of like a hallucination, basically. And he just shoots from the hip, and he doesn't hit the head, but he sort of pegs several limbs, and Mark just goes down in a sort of sprawl of limbs, basically. And he sort of staggers over to him as the dull boom of the warheads detonating, in the deck below can be heard.
And then, Mark, as you are sinking into full unconsciousness, as the readout dims, what are you thinking? Are you thinking anything? Or are you down to Oculus operative?
I wish I remembered my wife's name so I could apologize.
All right. This is the time for epilogues. Epilogues would just be your character, how, and any time after this. And if you have died or been expired in some way, you could narrate what the world is like without you. So, do you need a few minutes, or you think you're okay to go?
A couple of minutes would be good.
Okay, yeah, let's
Like
do
3, 5?
3 minutes. 3 minutes is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have an idea, but it needs some thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah. All right, see you in 3. All right, so these are the epilogues, and these would be just about your character. You can refer to the other characters obliquely, but for the most part, this is what happens to you at some point in time after all of the events of the ALLURA happened, and if you have expired in some way, then it would just be what you would narrate as the world goes on. So, whomever would like to start.
I think mine is very easy. Sue Ellen was prone and immobile when the explosion happened. So I think we see a little bit later in space just refuse floating around in nothingness. It's not even floating when you're in space because there's nothing to float on. We see a portion of what looks kind of like a human skull, maybe just the quarter of it. Like if the Phantom of the Opera's mask was a piece of a face. There's an eye, it's not moving, connected to what looks sort of like a piece of skull, connected to a variety of circuits and things that look kind of like motherboards. It's what's left of Sue Ellen. Not much. She is not capable of analyzing the data that she is pulling in anymore. There's not enough of her processor for that. But she is capable of perceiving the stars and the planets, the bits of debris of the ship. And it's all like a beautiful painting. If she remembered what paintings looked like, that's what it would remind her of.
I think inside the pod it's very cold and there's like frost forming, and you can see the gravity has failed and Jerry's just sort of floating in the middle of the pod, his breath sort of steaming, just holding the tablet, humming brokenly, just looking at this tablet. And you see this kind of blinding light coming in through the window, and he looks up and sort of, the side of the pod, and he sort of looks up and shields his eye, and for a minute it looks like a red glowing eye, and there's a hiss as like the clamps attach and the door opens, and the last thing Jerry sees is the barrel of a silenced pistol, and then
We pick up a bit further in the future. There was a war, but it didn't go quite as Oculus had hoped. Oculus operates under a different name now, under different leadership, but still doing the same sort of business. And we find a book, Worn, Better Than the You of Yesterday, by Mark Miller. It is in a used bookstore in the clearance bin. And when people look at it and try to find reviews, it's odd because there's no reference of anyone actually being named Mark Miller. So people just assume that it was ghostwritten, that it's just a fake name by some fake author. And it's filled with a bunch of smarmy stuff that no one really cares about. And that is all that remains. Life goes on.
Life does go on. The company that used to be known as Oculus has their darkened shelter for their new power organization. They know to operate in more shadowy ways rather than being the obvious corporation that they were. because of what had happened when the virus had spread through the fleet. It activated in all the ships, and it brought the ships that weren't blown up back to Earth, back to Oculus headquarters, when all of the ships started appearing in the atmosphere, or above the atmosphere, and all weapons targeting Oculus, buildings, businesses. Oculus's days were numbered, but, as said before, life goes on, in no matter what kind of shadowy, vermin-y way it does. And so ends our playthrough of ALLURA.
Holy crap, lads and lasses, we did it! Well done! We can finally break. How long were we holding in any sort of laughter between all of that?
Oh my god!
Excuse me, I just cursed a bunch.
It's fine.
I just-
I did too. I did too. Yeah.
Whoa! Like,
We did it!
Fucking amazing! Holy shit! Oh my god!
Thank you for running this scenario. It's been wonderful.
Oh.
yeah, if
you.
I'm gonna start the Stars and Wishes. I know you're doing Stars and Wishes for anybody who's
Stars and Wishes officially starts.
Anybody who's watching this and doesn't know Stars and Wishes. Stars are things you like. Wishes are things that you wish would have happened or you wish in the future. Stars for all of you. This was amazing. This was intense and beautiful and emotional and heartfelt in so many ways I really didn't expect. Especially since, we kind of started off very silly. Which of course
was not recorded, was not completely recorded. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm looking at the four of us. We all know how silly we've gotten. But wow to all of you. Maz, thank you for running this. You were brilliant facilitating. It was very spooky. All the points really hit in a really great way. I would watch this movie once and then I would cry too much and never watch it again. This was wonderful. Wishes, I wish I could just go back in time and experience this all again.
Aww.
Well, when I finally post this and stuff, I mean, you can watch it once and then cry about it, and then,
It's true, I will.
Let people know to watch it for you again. Oh my god.
Let's see, Stars and Wishes. Again, James, that ending, as you said in chat, very strong, Resident Evil Umbrella Corporation.
I didn't even I missed that, but I mean, holy crap, when you did that, I was trying so hard not to scream because I knew I was unmuted.
It was chef's kiss. If only you could just had someone reaches in to take the tablet and we just see the eye with a knife through it again.
Oh my god, it was devastating. Holy shit, man.
It was good. I had heard stories about Trophy Dark being play to lose, but the whole fact of literally everybody's missions were for nothing. Very good, very well done. Stars to Mads for adjusting exactly what these characters and us as players were gravitating towards in terms of theming, because initially it's oh, this is about secrets. It's look at Sue Ellen secretly murdering people. Man, it's gonna be really awkward when that shows up again in front of everyone and reveals the secrets. And that turned into imposter syndrome for a bit until it turned into, I guess, us trying to overcome who we were before, and then just staying on those beats and shifting along with us was really solid facilitator work, and I want to give credit to that.
Thank you.
Amanda, you committed to, I am here to get answers, I am here to upgrade. And that moment, that doubt, that faltering that you had, where it's like, but what if this doesn't work, was a very, for the android, humanizing moment of like, despite how driven you had been for the entirety of this thing, unquestioning, unflinching, everything that Mark wanted to be, you were. And then that faltering moment where you're like, maybe not. And that was very beautiful. Things I wish. Part of me wishes that Mark had survived as like just an Oculus agent under a different name, under a different regime, and that's just what he does for the rest of his life. But I'm happy that he didn't. I am very happy that Gerry was the one who pulled the trigger and survived. Mark is just a bad writer doing bit tours for forever. Oh man. You know, there are fates worse than death. You're right. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
I think my star on top of just what everyone else has said in that you Mads, you did an amazing job like facilitating, and everyone just really like went all in. Is just that I think Trophy really supports, like, I mean, Event Horizon is serious. It you know, into diegetically, like inside its narrative, it thinks it's a serious movie, but it's like wildly like ridiculous. I think that this showed this game that you can just be laughing your ass off the whole time and actually maintain a serious tone inside the narrative. You know, I think it showed that's possible. But I just also feel like it was really enjoyable to try and win while planning to lose in a way, because I didn't gain quite a lot of ruin early on. I knew that I could technically try and survive, but that gives you a chance to just plot your own demise, which is my favorite kind of deliberate trophy play to lose. So I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed that everyone else kind of went for their own version of that as well, and that we got a lot of vicarious satisfaction out of Android uprising and creating a sort of dirtbag corporation. Yeah. I don't think I would wish anything else for this. It felt like what I wanted. When I read the book originally, this is kind of how I imagined it would be, and it was sort of even more so than that.
Yeah, stars for Alicia Furness for writing this. I just want to throw that one out there.
Thanks, Alicia.
So much
You're
fun.
awesome.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love you,
amazing.
Alicia.
Yes. My stars, I mean, amazingly enough, I remembered some specific bits this time. So, star to Mike for leaning in, for your first time playing Trophy Dark, for all of the bits that were wonderfully character driven, but then surprising when we did the turn, like around ring 3, ring 4. Because again, it's like, you know, could have just considered him, oh yeah, I mean, like, you know, he's out for his surface needs. But then when you pulled out the thing with the wife, which even surprised me, like when I like sprung that on you, you ran with it, and that is a credit to your role play, and I appreciate you so much for it, because it made it so much richer when Mark did reach his end, whichever it would have been, whether you survived, whether you got killed, whether you got lost, didn't matter. I mean, like, you know, you played it all the way through to the end, you played to lose, you failed with style, all of that. So kudos to you, especially for your first game of Trophy Dark, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
And then Gerry, James, holy crap, man. You always...
I love Gerry. I love him.
I mean, okay, so, I mean, I'm just gonna plug, all right? So watch, like, Sepulture of the Swamp Witch on my channel on YouTube, because, I mean, James plays like a weird-ass character there, and he plays something fairly similar to that here, because, I mean, I would not have expected the, balletic montage going down that hallway, but I thought it was, like, a great solution for how nutty it was getting. And then, just even how you ended the first session with yelling into the eye, into the camera at the AI. I mean, just great choices always, and I love you for it. So, stars there. And then the end. Holy crap, man, that epilogue. Definitely did not expect that. Definitely did not expect you to lose all the way through. Damn. At the very least, I would have expected something like a screaming Mimi, like how Event Horizon ended with the one crew member who, survived and then thought it was she dreamed and had a nightmare about the ending or whatever. But you just carried it all the way through, and that was brilliant. So, and then Amanda, I mean, again, stars for your choices and conviction. And as always, and I expect this every single time because you always do it, you're somehow, somewhere, you always sneak in a bit about art, about like the visual, and it's amazing. It's wonderful, and that's a mark of a good role player, like to be able to include bits that you carry over into each character, no matter how different they are. It's like something that's like a theme, So, kudos for that. And then again, your choices. Some things I would not have expected. I mean, you were playing it straight in the beginning, and then it turned into different things, like for the second half, which again everybody did, and the choices were amazing, and you made it very easy to do this. I will say that this is my first foray into running a Trophy Dark incursion that's actually designed for Trophy. Like the only other time that I've actually done facilitating for it is trying to run my own playtest of my own incursion, which I guess it's okay. We'll see how the podcast episode turns out for International Podcast Month plug in September. But yeah, I mean, you guys made this so wonderful and a great experience. So thank you for being such amazing role players and, making this an emotional and story-filled experience. That's the magic of tabletop role play, and this is why I love playing these games a lot. And the piece of robot face floating in the space forever. Yeah, that too. So, anything else?
Space definitely made us its trophy, didn't it? So
it did. It really did.
All's well that ends trophy.
All well that ends trophy.
There's this whole thing going around on Twitter right now where people are, like my tweet, and I'll tell you for how many likes I get. I'll go back a year and tell you one of my favorite movies from that year. And I was looking through mine, and it's a lot of space movies. I love space movies. I love space. I mean, look at my little tattoos. I love space horror. I love space movies. I never really get to play a lot of space games, and space horror is one of my absolute favorite genres. So this was just really an absolute treat. Like just a lot of fun, and I know that I took the place of somebody who had to drop because of scheduling, and I just feel like I really got lucky.
It was meant to be. It's meant to be. I mean, this may not be the only time I run it. I mean, like to try different things. And as we know, even if it's the same scenario or same game, it will never be the same for each table. So, never. I mean, this is another reason why I love this tabletop role-playing games and love this experience with different people and different players and different tables, because it shines, it shows. So, I mean, as for wishes, I mean, I don't really have any for this particular incursion. We made it through, and everybody contributed, and the collab was great. I mean, again, Trophy Dark is a wonderful system where it allows players to be engaged and be involved. in their own and however that turns out to be. So
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think my only real wish is I hope to play with you all again. I'm sure
oh
I
yes.
will. I'm sure I will, but I want to put that out into the universe that I hope that it does happen.
Yeah.
We could do
Absolutely.
Project Galileo. That's also sci-fi, like Ember and Ash, and it's just like really
I've been
good.
wanting to play
Okay.
that for so long.
I've run it a
I
couple
have
of
no idea.
times, and it's very good. Very
I
good.
hear somebody volunteering.
Yeah, pretty. I'll do it. I'll do it. I have done it a couple of times before, but a bit rushed at the end, so I'd like to give it a bit of breathing room and
If
play
you
it
need to
again.
split it up into a 2-shot, that's why we do these
Oh,
things.
definitely. No, yeah, it's not one like this one that you would want to do in a one shot. So.
Sure. 2-shot, 3-shot, whatever. You know, we're all here for it. So.
And there's already a group here that knows how to play the game and can coordinate easily.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Weird how that one works.
Strange.
Weird how it works.
We can talk about that more in the future, but
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So thank you guys again so much for a wonderful experience. It was wonderful facilitating for you. And this, again, thank you very much, Alicia, because this was a wonderful incursion and we were so pleased to do this. Again, like everything else, hopefully
Yeah,
the
so do I.
content gets done soon. Okay. Alrighty. So everyone have a wonderful evening, day, whatever you're going into right now, and we'll see you soon. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
bye.